I don't believe that when you shout your anger, it's only your decibel is heard. But when you make a sound point, you don't need to make noise. You make noise only when you have a shallow water. Don't think that nothing will happen to you. Anything can happen to you. Good things as well as bad things. Prepare for both of them. Take both with equal distance and equal closeness.
Amazing. Amazing. I mean, what a story.
Globalization has road rollered our standard of living and test of culture.
Right. Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you in another episode of Emotionally Yours with Pratik. Today I've got a very fantastic multifaceted personality with us who's not only PhD in marketing management and management, but he's walked multiple areas of life, right from technology training to education to media to news anchoring to being an editor of news channels and a wide and varied experience of multiple fields. So with us, I've got Dr. Uday Nirgudkar. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, nice. Wonderful color.
All right. Thank
Saffron.
you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me on the show.
All right. So, Dr. Uday, as I had briefed you, that this is our second meeting though.
Yeah.
And the first was in 1994, by the way, when I was a very small entrepreneur. I was in second year of my graduation. I just started, and I remember you encouraging me during that venture, sir. So it's so nice to have somebody who had inspired me during my first enterprise or the first venture ever. So
the world is so small, as they say, that it just comes to an end. So wonderful. Nice to see you in new avatar.
Oh, thank you, sir.
That's
thank
also
you
me.
very much. And of course, a credit goes to you because of the inspiration that you had given. And I'm sure you're going to share the same line of inspiration to our audience. Sir, you have worn multiple hats, right from being a management postgraduate to a doctorate in management to somebody who's been an entrepreneur in education, revolutionized ideas in giving education in mother tongue, etc. And now you are with NHPC. Then you were with Island FS for some time. You have been with Z 24 Stars in Marathi, news anchoring, so on and so forth. Sir, how do you manage wearing so many hats?
The basic principles are in place, and your processes and systems approach is intact in your mind. And when you are clear of what you should be doing and what you should not be doing, when you have good grasping power, where you have the understanding of the complexities of situations, be whichever domain knowledge it could be, then the journey is quite easier, I would say. Although I will not say that it's easy, but it's relatively, it becomes easier for me. So at times I wore these hats simultaneously, but I guess everyone does that. Look at our mother. I mean, at the same time she's cooking for you, at the same time she's taking our studies, at the same time she's managing the finance in the home, same time she's taking care of somebody ill in the family, at the same time she's attending her social duties, or if needed, she's earning for the family also. So there is a lot to learn from our homemakers.
Oh wow, that's a very interesting angle that you've given, that like homemakers are multitaskers, or somebody who are at the center of action. You have learned those lessons very early. Let us try and understand how has been your journey so far in terms of right from education onwards till your first venture and till now.
Oh,
if you could just...
It's a very open-ended question, and it's a very perhaps a long answer would come, but I would say it was as they say in Chinese proverb, may you all live in turbulent times.
May you all live in turbulent times.
And I believe that I lived that life completely, I would say. When I'm now at the fag end of the professional career per se, I would say that last 30 years has been twists and turns, unexpected turns, ups and downs, surprises, betrayals, so many things happening, I would say. My MBA also came by accident. I was not designed to do my MBA. In fact, my career graph will show that after my graduation in chemical, I had a gap of 1 year where I was not, I was very sure that I will not do masters in chemical, because I realized by then that is the wrong lane I took perhaps, on which I got good marks, but I'm not interested in that anymore. Then I did my MBA after 1 year gap. So 1 year I explored myself. I read a lot, I traveled a lot, and did many things. Did a lot of theater also during that time. And I did my MBA. I liked MBA very much. I passed out with extremely flying colors and got one of the finest jobs on the campus, perhaps the highest paid jobs in Tata Group. And I'm thankful to God and the opportunity given to me that I started my career with Tatas, which instill professionalism and ethics in you. That's the most important thing.
Yes.
That there are no shortcuts in life, and if you take shortcuts, you will be successful, but you will be successful in short run, not in the long run. So if at all I'm little successful after a long run of life, I would say it's, and came out without any spot on the career, I would say that it's only because of the good upbringing of the family and good value system inculcated during early years of my life with Tata Group of companies. So that was my first brush with it. Then with a company that was selling photocopiers, that was called Chorus. When you understand photocopiers, some of you may not realize what you're talking. It's actually Xerox machine. Xerox is a company, but we have used now Xerox for photocopying.
Just the way every bottle of water is Bisleri.
Yeah, that's what it is. Or every toothpaste is Colgate. So that's like that. So my first venture into the grassroots of India was that company, where I traveled across the country. And in those days, I was not eligible for air travel, and thanks for that, because I traveled long journeys by train, and that actually gave me a lot of experience, and experience by observation, not in the, which is beyond classroom, I would say.
Yeah.
That was very important in my opinion. And then there was a long association with a computer training and company where we met, where I designed an idea that the rural India must have access to computer education. And with that thought, we started a chain of computer education centers across the rural India, and I set up about, I think if I'm not wrong and remember correctly, 1800 centers across India.
Wow.
One of which was in Hingoli,
Yeah.
and that was, and I visited about 1200 myself and Lakshman Hemdani, who was my colleague then, who later went to China and now settled in Pune. Oh, jolly. So we went across the country, and we signed up for franchisees. We make them profitable, and whenever I go to these small towns, even today I met some of them, and like you met me today after 30 good years, and you told me that Uday, you changed my life and you made me an entrepreneur. Like that. Just the other day I was in Konkan, and somebody came across after my speech and said that, sir, I have this agency, I'm now doing this, and I've built a beautiful Bangalore and all because you gave me an opportunity when I was in college or after the college to start up the computer education training center. So that was then it was the multimedia training centers, which is now today called as Arena.
Arena Multimedia.
So I was initiator of it, and then international operations basically. I looked after Latin America. So I traveled a lot, I would say about 60-65 countries, and 200 days a year for about 5 years.
My God.
And that gave me tremendous exposure to the world, I would say. In between, prior to AppTech, I got an opportunity to get a scholarship, renowned international scholarship, and I spent about 6 months in Brazil. And that was a time there was no internet, and there were no phone calls also. That was easier because phone calls were pretty expensive in those days. So that's how I was trained in Berlin School, Germany, and then I went and stayed in between Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. It's small villages. I still remember many of them. That opened my window to the Latin American culture, Latin American authors, Latin American inflation and the economy.
That's
inflation
the time
in
when
those
inflation
days
was really high.
1% a day. And I still have those notes, Brazilian currency notes with me. And you can't count the number of zeros on that. That was that stupid. cruzeros, as they call it, as Cruzeirian dollars. And they used to be, I have one note which is 1 million. And that 1 million is not equivalent to even 1,000 rupees over here at this point of time. So that was the kind of thing we lived into. Every 4 months the salary used to get adjusted. Every 2 months the rent used to get adjusted. I was living on Copacabana beach at Rio de Janeiro, wonderfully, happily. But the call of the nation, ye jo desh hai tera, swadesh hai tera, called me back. And I came back to India and joined computer education center, and the rest is the history.
Right.
And then again, after some time, I traveled across to those countries. And maybe Argentina, Honduras, Haiti, you name it, Fiji Islands, Australia, New Zealand, most of the South American countries, most of the Australian continent, subcontinent, and parts of China, I would say, to a large extent. So after good about 10, 12 years in that, and then I moved to the emerging area then, which is called as IT-enabled services, which is people may not understand, those who are not from the IT background.
Right.
Just to give you in one line explanation, what you call it as customer contact centers, जैसे कि call center कहते हैं हम, या BPOs, business process outsourcing. So when you book, when you go to the counter in let's say London Heathrow, and you give your ticket and you get your seat, what happens at the back end of the computer? It happens in India, in SEEPs. That's where Lakshmi turns Lucy, and she starts typing your thing, and that's how the legal transcription, medical transcription, all this process. So I mastered that. So any process migration, I did certification, and I passed out with flying colors in those. I did that, and I'm very happy that I created about 10,000 jobs. And that's the contribution, single-handed contribution. I would say that today, whenever I go to any, there is not a single day when somebody jumps into it, says, "Sir, do you remember me?" Obviously, I don't remember. And he says, "Sir, you trained me for so and so, and I today got so and so job." This happened in America also so many times. Wow. Just recently after elections, I was in Washington, and somebody jumped into me. He was with his grown-up kids, and he says, "Sir, do you remember me? I was in Ratnagiri Center, and you trained me, and I got job in Y2K. That is year 2000.
Right.
And I came here, and for the last 24 years I'm here. Now I'm married, I stay in Washington. Would you come to my home for staying and all that?" So it's very happy feeling inside that, fulfilling inside. And then came a turn in life, and I turned to a media with zero background. And one fine day, just to save the channel, I started facing this camera.
Save the channel?
Yeah, because the channel was not doing well.
Okay.
Not in terms of TRP as well as ad revenue. This is all ad revenue and TRP are correlated in my opinion. And it's also the second meaning of the TRP, which is not television rating point, but television respectability point. So we were not having respectability also. So it's out of compulsion. I started facing camera, makeup, light, action, and as he was saying that, "Shall we start?" And then that's how I began my story. And then the rest is the history. 5 years of leadership and innovative ideas every day, be it for farmers, be it for social workers, social organizations, be it for women, be it for entrepreneurs, be it for innovators, be it for students, be it for Jawans on the border, be it for environment. We did a lot of exciting things. A very fulfilling career, very fulfilling inning with media, I would say. And that gave me a confidence that if media to be used judiciously for betterment of society, it can be used. But if you want to use it for destructive purposes, well, it can also be used for that.
Absolutely.
So it's in your hand what the editor wants to do, and it's in the hand of the audience also, that you have that remote control in hand. So if you have a content which is not liked by you, as we don't like something to eat, we just leave it. So it's that you leave it and you get what you want. That's what it is.
Awesome. As you rightly said about the Chinese verb, okay, let you live in the turbulent times.
Yeah.
Because we always believe that change is the only constant, and adaptability to the change is the only way out in terms of doing it. So
they say that rigid will extinct,
right?
Adaptive will survive, and creative will flourish.
Absolutely.
That's the way for, and in the area of artificial intelligence, where we don't know, now today, just the other day, I was Adhyaksha of a Sahitya Sammelan in Baroda. And where I made a statement that now the Jnanpith Award should be given to ChatGPT. Because it is copied from there only, no? So why to give it to the original maker of it? So
I'm sure it must
let
have
the Nobel
Nobel
Literature Award should be given to ChatGPT, because they can create the content and you just edit the content as you want it. So joke apart. So in this area where it is like artificial intelligence is going to give role, one has to be extremely creative. You should feel bored to do the same thing in same manner on the second day. So unless you make every day as a celebration day where you do something creative and better than yesterday, life will be boring and you will be outdated and extinct. And if you don't make yourself outdated, well, time will make you.
You will become irrelevant in the
of course
times. So that's really nice. I mean, on that note, I have seen that, when you spoke about resilience, you spoke about being happy, you spoke about choosing your calling. Well, from chemical graduation to marketing, and
something very interesting, Pratik.
Yeah.
People often they mug up and pass. And they score marks and they feel that they have a liking for a subject. After about now for 36, 37 years,
right?
I still remember my chemical. Graduation time, very alpha, euchen, beta, euchen, stroben, novocaine, veronal, pentanol, sulfonal, antiparin, paranol, tetraxin, sulfoxin, sulfaderamide, sulfadazone, chloramine, mercurochrome, proflavin, normal, isoxanol, PAS, INH, dapsol. These are the 40 drugs I studied. And in the second breath, I can tell you their chemical reactions.
Oh my.
But I didn't earn a penny out of it. I was not even qualified to do that because I was useless in that. How do I score marks then? Mug up. जैसे कि वो राम रक्षा रटते हैं ना, वैसे रट के हम पास हुए. इसका कोई मतलब नहीं है जब तक उसमें दिल नहीं है, उसमें जान नहीं है, उसमें सोल नहीं है. ये खाली बॉडी से कुछ नहीं होता.
You said it. I mean, that's the very reason why I left engineering and came to arts.
That does not mean that all engineers should leave engineering. Country needs good engineers also.
Of course. And I could make out that I wasn't going to be a good one. So I left it at that.
Good.
Right. And when you said that going to the rural part or, visiting these places, on one hand, you were really flying high, going to Latin American countries, Africa, or various other parts of the world. And on the second side, you were going to the grassroots villages of India and then making those changes. I'm sure there would have been emotionally turbulent experiences in terms of, at times you would find cultural differences in other countries vis-a-vis when you go deeper in Maharashtra. Even there are multiple cultures within Maharashtra. You go to Marathwada or Vidarbha or North Maharashtra or Konkan.
You go to South Mumbai, you feel like, and interact with them, you feel like that you are in New York.
Yeah.
Because the tests are same. Because the globalization has road-rollered our standard of living and test of culture.
Right.
Because it has, now all have become global commoners.
Right.
We wear same kind of jeans, we like same kind of Pepsi or Coke, we like same kind of pizza, so there is no difference per se that way. And that's very dangerous in my opinion. India is plural, and this plurality and yet unity is what our strength is. So maybe I was ingrained into it, maybe I was trained into it, maybe I was soaked into it. That's how I could survive against all the cultural shocks. Perhaps one would have not able to withstand them. Latin America was an experience by itself, and when I first went, it was pre-Google day. Yeah, my first stint as a international student scholarship. It was pre-mobile phones. It was pre-color television. No, color television did arrive, but it was pre-mobile phones and pre-internet era. And that was a great. So, but I could withhold that pressure of cultural shock because of my reading, upbringing, and this democratic nature ingrained in me that you have to accept the things which are not congruent with you, which are not similar to you. They could be different, and there are so many things I have gone through. Let me tell you one experience. I was at a place called Guaratinguetá.
Okay.
That's a small village in Brazil, And I was the scholarship was that you are not allowed to stay in the hotel, but the organizers make you stay for 7 days in families, different families after 7 days.
Okay.
So that's how for 6 months I stayed in countless families. So there was this family where the husband was a CEO of a large multinational company, and the wife was she was in her late 40s, I think, or early 50s, but she looked like she was in 25. And I asked her actually that you have such grown-up kids, so how come you look so young? And then she revealed that she was Miss Brazil.
Oh.
And she was in the runner-up for Miss World or something like that. Then she showed up her photographs, album, the entire thing, and it was in bikinis and those things. And so I was coming straight from a black and white life to a colored life like that. So I made some nasty comment on that.
Okay.
And bit a racist also, I think. It was the mature of that exposure to me. And she was hurt because she developed a good liking for me because my performance on the radio channel, my performance in the university where I delivered talks was absolutely brilliant. So she was very happy with hosting me and she really took care of me. So in the evening she said, I'm going to swim. Would you like to come on the creek? I said, okay. So she packed up some veg food for me and we went. And she said, would you like to swim? I said, I won't swim, you go. And she came out, it was late in the evening and moon was just coming up and she really looked very beautiful and I was aghast to see her beauty. And she said, what are you looking at? I said, it's the first time I'm seeing such a wonderful lady in front of me. He said, Uday, when the other day the entire university students rose to give a standing ovation to your speech, what did you feel? I said, I feel very happy. So how many days you prepared for your speech? And I said, such kind of speech don't happen by days preparation. It's from the childhood. My mother prepared for me, my teachers prepared for me, my reading prepared for me, my observation skill prepared for me. So it was a journey, tough journey of 20 years that took me to this appreciation. He said, yes, you liked it. But I said, of course, in the alien land, you get such appreciation. He said, this body and mind, which received an accolade and awards as the most beautiful woman in Brazil, for 20 good years, I worked on my body. For 20 good years, I must have toiled in the gym, not to allow even a 1 millimeter of extra fat on my body. To get that skin tone, I have walked under a scorching sun in this. I spent hours and hours in the library to train myself on this. So when you exhibit your hard work and get accolades, it's all ethical and good. And when I, exhibit what I have worked very hard, it's derogatory. Do you think it's dual standard? I realized the mistake and I said sorry. And that changed my way of looking at things in a different manner. Thanks to Professor Lesa, with whom I spent a lot of time, he opened my door to the Latin American culture through literature. So whenever I go to a country, I listen to the music of that country, I listen to the poems of that country, I talk to the youngsters, I talk to the university professors. That allows me to understand what kind of society is this. As they say that you tell me the songs on the lips of the youngsters and I will tell you the future of the nation. So be it Arab world, be it African world, so many experiences. When I first heard John Strauss, what a wonderful music they created. It's not just the Indian classical music, even they have their own tradition. Just to give you one example, we used to have this off period in our schools.
Correct.
कोई अगर teacher नहीं आता है तो there is an off period. Correct. And the supervisor teacher used to come. That teacher used to tell us about Shakespeare and about King Lear, Othello, Macbeth, Comedy of Errors. I mean, so many.
Right.
So I was so intrigued by that. I said, my God, what a literature it is. So when I earned my first salary, first thing I did is I bought the entire volume of Shakespeare, and I used to read it every day like a ritual. And when I got my scholarship and I went abroad, and I knew that I would be in London after about a year or more than that, I carried 9 flowers made up of gold.
Made up of
9
gold.
flowers made up of gold. And then when I went to London, the first day what I did is that catch a bus from the Victoria terminus and go to Stratford-upon-Avon. This is where you have Shakespeare's Storm.
Correct.
And I offered them over there because our teacher taught us that इन्होंने नव रस की निर्मिति की है, तो हर एक रस का एक फूल, हर एक emotions का एक फूल. And still that picture is there with me, which is the most dear to me as of today, I would say. So this is the rich upbringing which allowed me to have that emotional control over a variety of things. I had a theatre group. We did a lot of plays, Albert Camus' plays, Tendulkar's plays, I would say. And that gave us a well-round finishing school grooming on a variety of literature. So when you read Albert Camus, you don't read only Camus, you read the surround literature also. One very good thing in our school was that we used to have these poems by Kusumagraj, poems by Vinda Karandikar, poems by Shanta Sherke, and what our school did is that they used to call these luminaries into classrooms. So, Prithvicha Prem Geet, I was not taught by teacher, but by Kusumagraj. And I was 2 feet away listening to it. Or देणाऱ्यांना देत जावा, घेणाऱ्यांना देत जावा, घेता घेता एक दिवस देणाऱ्याचे हात घ्यावेत. I was taught this by Vinda Karandikar.
My God.
So obviously, you are fortunate.
What an experience.
And P. Savaram, the famous poet, used to stay next door, next lane. And we used to meet every day. That was like meeting him and listening to him, or Ashok Bagwe, Vijay Joshi. It was like a university going again without a classroom. So in order to stand apart, in order to get noticed, you have to work hard during the day. So your reading has to be very updated. Your habits have to be extremely good. One good thing, habit my mother inculcated is that every day in the night before switching off the lights, she used to give me a topic. Every day. For about 15 years, 12-15 years, she did that. And it used to be completely dark for 3 minutes. And after 3 minutes, she will switch on the lights. And when these lights are on, she said, okay, on this topic, speak in English, speak in Marathi, or speak in Hindi for 3 good minutes. If the topic is known to you, 3 minutes are very less. If the topic is not known to you, 3 minutes is like a one yug.
Too long.
It's 180 seconds, boss. Or So when I started facing the camera and talking extempo, people thought, oh my God, this chemical person coming from financial background, ILFS, Godrej, and project manager and general manager and vice president of infrastructure services, suddenly facing the camera and start talking from poetry to politics. It is all groomed for the last 15 years by my mother. It was all groomed. And not just that, even the way switch on and switch off is one thing which mother used to keep 6 different books. So it could be Dasbodh, it could be 10th standard mathematics, it could be Mein Kampf, it could be Babasaheb Purandare Shivaraja Shivachatrapati, it could be the current newspaper which is there or something like that. And then she used to mark, 10 pages padh ke aa jao. And then you read 60 minutes, 60 pages. And then she will ask me, okay, what was the edit in Lok Satta today? And then she will say, okay, what was there in Dasbodh? So what was there in Mein Kampf? So what was there in Satya Se Prayog? Or what was there in 2nd chapter of the 10th standard mathematics book? So imagine the kind of alertness you have to build while reading and remembering it. So whenever people used to admire the concluding ability at the end of the rope talk, they said, how can you remember what everyone said in 45-minute talk or 1-year talk? Well, it was rehearsed for, I don't know, ये रियाज तो 12 साल से 15 साल से चल रहा था, तो उसकी वजह से हो सका.
That's so amazing to speak about multiple things at the same time, and the experience that you shared about cross-culture sensitization, where it hit really hard upon you, and then you face this. We spoke about various aspects. Now you spoke about Rokthok, which is one of my favorite shows, by the way. And there was one Dhaga Rakhicha.
Yeah, Dhaga Shaurya Ka Rakhi Abhiman.
Dhaga Shaurya Ka Rakhi Abhiman ki. These are things which were very, very emotional. And the audience like me would connect with it instantly, right? Those, touch of emotions is something that we could really candidly see. However, when we talk about shows like Rock Talk, on various channels, I've seen a shouting match between various people. Unfortunately, I mean, there are instances where the emotions and tempers fly very high. When such things used to happen, where there was a news or an event that had happened, an incident like a Nirbhaya incident or Kathiawadi incident, or some kind of nasty incident, I'm sure even being a news anchor, you would be filled with a lot of emotions, anger or outrage and things like that. But you had to maintain your composure on the show. How did you manage this?
It was tough. It wasn't easy. It was the way I want the audience to see the anchor, I would say. It's that urge is more. I don't believe that when you shout your anger, it's only your decibel is heard. But when you make a sound point, you don't need to make noise. You make noise only when you have a shallow water.
You're not sure about it.
Yeah, you have shallow water. When you don't have a point, you have. So I used to divide my show in three things. One is the facts. So it's like that Pratik has this birth date and this Aadhaar. Now, nobody can question this.
Right.
Correct? I may say that I may not like you, I may dislike you, I may not like your beard, I may not like your specs. That's a perception. But this is your birth date and this is your Aadhaar. Nobody can challenge. I always stick my show to the facts and figures.
Objectivity.
Numbers. And maybe I'm very good in being a corporate CEO at a very young age. I became CEO at the age of 30. So maybe I'm very good in numbers because har mahina हम बोर्ड को फेस करते थे. So better you remember all your sales figures and marketing figures and your competition figures and everything at the tip of your tongue. So every month, the night before the board meeting, there used to be butterflies in the stomach that ये पूछ सकते हैं क्या, वो पूछ सकते हैं क्या, तो इसका जवाब क्या होगा. So सारा reels होता था दिमाग में, like what. So it's like that only. So and sometimes when the temper used to be very high, breaks used to come to my rescue.
Okay.
So they used to say in the earplug that, sir, break ka time ho gaya. And I said, oh my God, what a relief. And then I said, okay, let's discuss all this after the break. And you won't believe, in the break, I used to play on my mobile, Rag Yaman, or Malcolm's, more than that, the rag which Bhairavi, I would say, which calms you down, or if not mobile, I used to sing myself. I used to sing some of the tunes. I used to rhyme the tune in my mind. So at times, I think it was Neelam Gore. She was on the channel, and there was a heated argument going on between her and someone else from the Congress party, and she said, Uday, how do you keep your composure? And then I played this music. She said, oh, that's the trick, or that's the secret behind it. So I think the Indian classical music, that also helped me to keep calm and quiet. So even now, coming from Thane to Pune, the studio, for complete 3 hours, I was listening to Indian classical music on one hand.
Music is a great
yes,
healer.
of course, great healer, I would say. It's a great therapy in my opinion.
Absolutely. Even I listen to music quite often.
Yeah.
And, Indian classical music runs in the blood by
that's how I did so many shows on television channels. That is breaking the mold. Why the news channels should have music programs on Diwali? I said, why not? Is it not a part of the society? When 10,000 people come to listen to Savai Gandharv, Bhimsen Joshi Savai Gandharv Music Festival, it's an important thing. Yeah. So if the 10,000 people gather for some morcha in front of Shanmarwada, you make a news out of it. Then why not 10,000 people gathering at Bhave School or Raman Bagh to listen to the Indian classical music? Why it is not in news? So I started doing that. So everybody criticized. Not a single person in the company was with me. And later, after 3 years, not just my company, but every other competition channel started doing it.
You spoke about being a CEO, and having prepared for board meetings, and then there are all kind of questions being put for revenue pressures, etc. I always say CEO is somebody who's gifted with success and loneliness together, because you have to own up every possible thing, and the mistakes of your team, the mistakes of others, the markets not being favorable, etc., etc. So that's the kind of a pressure situation where a lot of CEOs break down. Whether such instances in your life?
You are absolutely right, and it did happen to me also. I'm not saying, I won't lie. When I became at a very young age a CEO, I was not trained emotionally to handle that pressure, that kind of pressure. So as a result, I have this cervical disc prolapse. That's the rare of the rarest disease, where one fine day there was a small back pain. And that back pain turned out to be a very major problem in the spine. So where C4, C5, C5, C6, C6, C7 completely damaged. With a notice of 4 days, half of my body became paralyzed. And what I'm talking to you fluently today, or even election shows, I talk for 8 hours or 10 hours continuously without a mistake. I was not able to talk even 2 lines. I was not able to hold pen to sign my will. That was a bad time, and the notice period for that was 4 days. I came from a grinding tour, and I had a lecture to be delivered on Saturday morning. I came on Thursday night, and Saturday morning I was to go to Panchgani to delivering a talk at 11 o'clock. So I started at 5 o'clock, and Mumbai-Pune Expressway was getting built in those days. So there was a lot of rough road on the way. So when I came back on Saturday night, there was some pain. So Sunday I slept. And Monday, there was tremendous pain. I couldn't get up from the bed. So my wife had to call our chowkidar to lift me up from the bed to go to the bathroom. So I said, okay, kuch to hoga. So I just applied some Iodex and went. And then in the office, it was a pain. So I took some tablets suggested by, there are many advisors around,
Yeah.
Google doctors. So बहुत लोगों ने बताया ये ले लो, वो ले लो. And when I called up my doctor wife, she said, you take this tablet. I said, 3 खा चुका हूँ. तो बोले पागल है क्या तू? 3? This is to be consumed only 1 in a day. You are taken 3 or 4. He said, you come here. And then I went to Leelavati and did my MRI. And then I realized that spine is completely damaged. And I was to fly to Sri Lanka that night to meet the Sri Lankan president the next day, along with the Manipal Academy, with whom we are at tie-up. The vice chancellor came down. And I said, I can't come. So doctor said, you can't go. I was adamant. I said, I will go at any cost. When I tried to sit in the car, I collapsed due to pain. And then it was a bad journey. And they reduced the pain by some anti-pain
pain
then finally, it had to be operated for 8 hours. It was Ram Navami day of year 2000, I remember. And I prayed to the God that if I've done something wrong, intentionally give me punishment today. But if I've done something good, reward me that today. I'm in front of you. And I was told 6 months I'll be out of circulation. Exactly on the 32nd day, I think, I lifted 7 kg bag, put it in the cabin and went to America. So that was a great recovery. So that, I said, when I did a lot of self-talk during that time. पहले तो ये था कि ये denial था कि ये सब डॉक्टर लोग हैं, डॉक्टर का हस्बैंड है इसके लिए, ये सब ओवर रिएक्ट कर रहे हैं. Then he said, why to me? मैंने किसका क्या बिगाड़ा सारा? तो मेरे साथ ये क्यों हो रहा है? Then I said, okay, I give up यार, चलो मरने दो. I will be apaised throughout my life. But the point comes in life where you say, नहीं यार, let me take the bull by horn, look into the eyes of the problem, soul search, change the gears and sort it out by myself. Fortunately, good medical care and good emotional quotient, I would say. I decided to fall back and what I am today in front of you. During that journey, I realized that I was not trained to handle those pressures. So I trained myself first. I trained officially and as well as informally by watching the great players. How? By watching the great CEOs. इन्होंने ये ऐसे सिचुएशन में क्या किया होता? What these people would have done? What is the thought process behind taking this decision? So I learned a lot from that, I would say. And then I never had any health problem after that.
Awesome. What an experience, Dr. Uday.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, okay, this reminds me that when your wife is a medical professional, you should listen to her, and irrespective of your wife, whoever it is, you have
she
to
realized it, the facial paralysis part. I was brushing in the morning.
Right.
The water was coming from this side. She asked me, she was standing behind, she saw it in the mirror, and she said, Uday, hold the water. I said, hold it to kar raha hu. To bole, nahi, gir kyun raha hai fir? Hold it tightly. I said, I'm holding it tightly. She said, Uday, this is the start of facial paralysis. And that was the 5th day of the pain. So you have very little time. So don't think that nothing will happen to you. Anything can happen to you. Good things as well as bad things. Prepare for both of them. Take both with equal distance and equal closeness.
Amazing. I mean, what a story in terms of facing that there is a problem.
Yeah.
From denial to acceptance.
Absolutely.
From acceptance.
So I was never lonely at the top, I would say. Many CEOs are lonely at the top, I know. Correct. Because they distance themselves. मैं CEO था तब भी मैं मेरे colleagues के साथ ही खाना खाता था. Although there used to be a separate CEO lunch room and stuff like that. My door of the cabin used to be always open. They used to feel free to come and call me by. I always said, call me by first name. And एक चीज my grandfather used to do in 1940s, and he was a brilliant collector of those times, British times, I would say. And उन्होंने एक चीज करी थी जो I followed it till date. Even we follow it our home and in all the companies where I worked. On a Diwali day, just before Diwali, all the drivers and chowkidars and sweepers and wet dusters, those who clean toilets, I used to call them to the conference room along with their families, and we used to lay a beautiful lunch for them. And I used to decorate the entire table for them, and I myself used to serve them, so that the sweeper boys should know, sweeper son or daughter should know that मेरे बाप को एक dignity है यहाँ पे, इस कंपनी का CEO आके उसको खाना परोस रहा है. And then उनके जो झूठी plate थी, that plate I used to lift by myself and didn't allow them to lift their plates, so that a dignity should be established, that I'm first amongst equal and not a blue-eyed person or blue blood person like that. And then we used to give some whatever gift we wanted to give to the kids and to the family. सारी दे दी उसके बीवी को, या तो एक अपनापन था. और ये हर कंपनी में मैंने किया. तो कॉल्स, वैसे भी कॉल सेंटर में सीईओ को कभी साहब सर जी ऐसे नहीं बुलाते थे. They used to always call by first name. And so in my opinion, CEO should be approachable, but at the same time there has to be a sense of dignity that they should know whom they are calling. Absolutely. But they should feel free to call them. And there has to be a two-way communication. I used to seek their opinion. I used to feel frankly, I used to feel very uncomfortable. The next morning I used to come to the Z office. अगर चौकीदार ने मुझे ये नहीं बोलना कि काय सर कालचा काय शो केलाय तुम्ही रात्री, आमचं अख्खं घर बघत होतं. That was the best confidence I used to get, believe me. Because every day he used to tell me. अगर वो नहीं बोलता था, I used to be upset. I said बुरा किया शायद मैंने. So that he could say it to me because of the rapport. Because I used to ask him, काय आवडलं का? How was it? Did you like it? Your family liked it or not? What changes I should make? क्या correction था? क्या गलती किया मैंने? बताओ मेरे को. जैसे सर हम तो चौकीदार हैं, हम क्या? नहीं, your opinion matters to me.
Correct.
And I learned a lot from them. And all those programs, Dhaga Shaurya, Rakhi Abhiman Ki, or all that, were actually inspired by my talks with some of these small villagers and what we call it the fourth class workers, as they call it as.
Correct.
उनके talk से ही वो ideas generate हुए.
Wow. This is a sign of somebody who takes the right feedback.
Yeah.
Who takes the necessary actions on those feedbacks. And this is where I always say that most of the times, people in the boardroom feel that they make choices. But I always say the choices make them.
Yeah.
And choices make the companies.
Absolutely, it's the audience that pays your salary, not the CEO.
Correct.
They watch our shows and we get TRPs. If we don't get TRPs, we don't get advertisements, and we don't get advertisements, we don't get paid. So simple.
So from this background, how did you move to National Hydropower Corporation?
Yeah, that was a sweet, unexpected change. One day I got a call from the Power Ministry at Delhi, and they said that, would you be free to take up this challenge as the director of India's largest hydroelectric power corporation? तो हमें तो बिजली कहाँ से आती थी, तो वो बटन दबाए तो आती है, इतना ही मालूम था. So I said, should I take up this challenge? I said, let me. Because every 6-7 years I have changed my tracks, and I have gone to a completely unknown field where all your earlier contacts and everything used to be zero. So I took up this challenge, and myself have spent, I don't know, 80 to 90 days or 100 days in the tunnel with the workers. There are a number of videos, I will share it with you, where I'm at a deep tunnel somewhere 30 kilometers inside the mountain.
My God.
तब पता चलता है कि what is the grievance of the workers working over there. It takes 1.5 hours to go inside. और वहाँ पे अगर बाथरूम को आपको लगती है तो 1.5 hours आपको बाहर आना पड़ता है.
My God.
Because you can't go and piss and shit in that place because it will stink otherwise. So imagine the kind of restraint, and they do a lot of physical labor work, and then you tell them कि तेरा ड्यूटी 12 घंटे का है, तो बताओ मुझे कैसे कर सकते हैं. So all these practical things, I used to sit, I used to take lunch with them, I used to take dinner with them. I've done everything which a worker does, and in all jobs I've done this. So now, be it renewable energy or hydroelectric energy, I bet I have the updated knowledge, because in the first board meeting something came to the approval which was not my cup of tea, and I was not knowing anything about it. So I said, अगर इसके ऊपर मैं साइन करता हूँ, and if it is happen to be some झोल और झमेला, then who knows, after 2 years it is unearthed by the CAG, I will be behind the bars. So I said the best way is that I need to understand the technology. So I purchased the second, third and fourth year hydroelectric engineering books, studied it myself, and I told one of the professors, you send me some of the earlier papers, and I wrote them, I gave them, I said examine. They said you have scored more than 70%.
Ooh.
Now I can take interview of any electrical engineer, mechanical engineer or hydroelectric engineer. I did same thing when I went to media. Perhaps the very few editors who can handle camera, who can understand aperture, who understand lights, who understand sounds. Absolutely. I first went behind the camera. I studied it कि एक मेरे जैसे बदसूरत को अच्छा कैसे दिखाना है. So I understood that. I learned makeup. I did it myself. And then I said, okay, now let me go in front of the camera and do it. So it's hard work. It's not easy.
True.
So मुझे मालूम था की बुडाला फोड आलेले आहेत माझ्या अभ्यास करून करून हायड्रोइलेक्ट्रिकचा. मी 16 तास दिवसातनं तेव्हा अभ्यास केलाय, कारण मला 3 years curriculum I had to finish in 6-7 months time.
My God.
So at the corona time कुछ नहीं था करने को. So I used to do and study, and I studied. That's it.
So this commitment, this kind of resilience, this kind of determination, where does it come from?
It has to be within you, and it's out of compulsion of the situation. चारा नहीं है. और दूसरा, अगर तुमको अलग रहना है, if you have to be distinctively different, you have to be at the top, you have to pay the price for it.
Absolutely.
So you can't have it all in life. You can't say that I will dance, I'll marry, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll drink, I'll dance. नहीं, ये सब नहीं हो सकता. You have to sacrifice something for it. And I did it.
So we spoke about a couple of challenging situations, like the one we spoke about in Brazil, which was really hard hitting.
Yeah.
The second one about
in China, I must tell you this funny incident.
Sure.
We had this joint venture in China, and it was declared, and we put in a lot of money, and so I think Shanghai mayor was invited, and he gave a wonderful dinner on that day. So it was like 16 of us were sitting on the table, and they were all talking in Chinese. So interpreter was sitting next to me, and there was some small pot came which had water and reptiles. So I said, "What is this?" Then they put up the glasses and they poured wine into it. And then that lady who was serving, she came and she talked something in Chinese. And then she had a cut to that reptile, and the blood was put into 2 to 3 drops in each. So I asked my interpreter, I said, "What is this? This is the highest honor they can give it to you." I said, "Oh my God, this is the honor." So I said, "Okay." I took out my visiting card. I said, "ये body इधर जाएगा मेरा, हाँ कुछ हो गया मेरे को तो body इधर नहीं दफनाना है अपने को उधर दे दो." I said, "Toast." Of course, nothing happened to me. It's very common practice in China. It's like in Brazil.
Right.
So they serve this wonderful coffee. They said, "Oh, wonderful." अब तो Nescoffee का आदत था. And there they have a decoction. You take that coffee, and I bet next 8 hours you cannot sleep. It was that
intense
and
whole dark.
My God. So I drank somehow and kept it down. Again he poured. So I said, "यार बुरा लगेगा इनको नहीं पिए तो." फिर पिया. Then the interpreter realized. He said, "No, you put it like this. Then they won't put." I said, "तो पहले क्यों नहीं बताया यार? तो पहले ही लेता नहीं था मैं." So it's a different culture. Like white is no one wears white in marriages over here. But in some countries it is auspicious. In some countries purple is auspicious. In some countries purple is mourning color. So it's all, you need to learn it very hard way. I learned it at Berlin School, Germany, in a program called Culturogram, where table manners and etiquettes were officially taught to us.
Okay, that is wunderbar.
Yeah, of course, it's very exciting to learn about other cultures.
Right. So when these are a couple of instances that you have mentioned. I'd like to ask you 2 instances. One which was very overwhelming and which was very difficult from emotional standpoint for you to handle, and the second one, the most fulfilling.
Fulfilling, so there are many, I would say. Can't single out one, but yes, if I have to say that if one incident which is the top of the mind at this point of time, maybe tomorrow if you ask it would be something different, but surely this could be in the top 2 or 3. When I was awarded by Lata Mangeshkar ji, she used to listen to my program, watch my programs, and often used to call me and appreciate me. And it was a great honor, and I used to long for her phone calls after 10 p.m. She knew that at about 10:20 I start my journey to my home. So 10:20 p.m. she would pick up phone and talk to me and said, "आज तुमचा कार्यक्रम खूप आवडला बरं का," वगैरे असं. And I used to wait for that phone calls. And when she said कि we every year give Dinanath Mangeshkar Award, and that award was conferred to me in her presence, and that was her last public appearance, and that award was given to me at the hands of Param Pujaniya Mohanji Bhagwat, Sarasanga Chalak of RSS. And Kapil Dev was one of the recipients. Amir Khan was the recipient with me. So I think that's one moment which is which there are like many other emotionally challenging. So every day it was many times. I remember 12th January 2013, I think. I was about to deliver my talk at Dombivli on Swami Vivekananda. And my wife called up कि तुम्हारे ऑफिस में जो फलाना लड़की काम करती है जिसको तुमने 2 दिन पहले भेजा था, she is a cancer patient and she was 26, 27. And I know it was very difficult for me to listen to it, and then within a minute you change your gears and start talking positivity and hopefulness and Swami Vivekananda. And then in the night we both went to her home to break the news. And तो ऐसे बहुत सारे क्षण आए which are testing your nerves, I would say, but you have to hold on to it, I would say. it's very difficult. It's not easy. And you learn it by experience.
Of late, we've seen that, a lot of people, and which, you've traveled in grassroots in the country and, this.
Last year, I was away from my home for about 298 days of 365 days.
My God. You were a visiting member in your family, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, talking about, this, you see that there has been an emotional resilience not being practiced, or emotional maturity not being, really practiced to the extent that it used to be earlier. So, have you seen the changes in this society over the period of years?
See, we go to gym to make our body, to keep ourselves fit. How many times we go to a mental or emotional gym?
Oh yeah, that's important.
So you need to get time for yourself, to your emotions. You have to drain out that which is there. हर चीज को दिल में लगाने से कुछ नहीं होता.
True.
हर चीज मेरी my way or highway ऐसे नहीं होता. You have to accept. Times have changed, situations have changed. So obviously one has to take up that by strides, I would say. So people don't spend time, they spend time on social media. But they don't take time to talk to themselves. Social media guides you in a wrong way, often wrong way, I would say. रील देखते देखते आदमी थक जाता है, दिमाग में कुछ नहीं आता, कचरा बैठ जाता है. कोई क्या वो पड़वड़ की सब्जी कैसे बनाते हैं, अरे तुमको क्या करना है, तुम बनाने वाले हो क्या? वो देखते 2 मिनट देखा, उसके बाद क्या देखा, वो किसी से नाग आ रहा है कुटू कुटू, वो तुमको क्या करने का है, वो देखा. उसके बाद क्या देखा, वो कोई बैल है, वो बैल को ऐसा कर रहा है, तुमको क्या करना है. कोई तीसरा देखा है कि हाथी को बच्चा पैदा होता है, वो देखता है, तुमको क्या करने का है, आर यू गोइंग टू बी अ सर्जन, वेटरनरी सर्जन, नहीं, वो देखता है. और क्या पता 1 घंटा चला गया, आदमी इमोशनली ड्रेन्ड हो गया. खुद का पढ़ना नहीं है, खुद से बात करनी नहीं है.
There's no reflection.
परसों, the other day, known as a speaker in Maharashtra, I was invited at Kolhapur, and it happened to be a kushti ka akhada. So I thought for once, they asked me to remove my clothes and get into it, and I'm the family pack. How can I fight a 6-pack ab person? So no, it was a they say award देने के लिए बुलाया आपको. So there was this Sukdu Palwan, and there was this hefty Palwan. What was the result? It was very clear that Sukdu Palwan was down on the mat with his back on the mat within minutes, and he started asking, "Oh, save me, save me, save me." So it was very clear. So when the judge came on the mat, on the left-hand side was a hefty Palwan, and there is Sukdu Palwan. So it was very clear that who has won the. But the Sukdu Palwan hand went up. Oh, I said, why? So he said, no, he may have won, but this Sukdu Palwan got more likes on the Facebook. मग गल्लीत विचारत नाही कुत्रा फेसबुकला 5000 मित्र असली अवस्था आहे आता.
अरे बापरे.
That's the worst part of it, in my opinion. We live in real world, not real world. We have so many friends, but we don't know what is the problem of the neighbor.
Correct.
We don't know the problem in the family, and we don't address it.
True.
So what can I say? That read. There are so many classics which are there to read. ये कचरा हर रोज रील 1.5 घंटा रील देखता है, क्या देखा जिंदगी भर. Now today there was a survey which came, 72 days time people waste in social media watching junk. Now for 72 days out of 365 days, if you are doing junk, you are no more than junk.
Absolutely.
So stay away from it. What else I can say?
That is a very useful message coming from a media person himself.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So that's that. On that note, I would simply say that, sir, it was wonderful talking to you, and it indeed was amazing reconnecting after almost 31 years.
Yeah.
And as a tradition of this show, we give you 2 mugs. One, we gift it to you with my signature.
Yeah.
And another one, I keep it with your autograph on it.
Oh, wonderful. So
all right.
Nice, so nice.
May we have them, please?
Yeah, so nice. That's a very good tradition. I mean, whenever I drink my morning tea, there is this thing which we do at our home. We have this domestic help for cooking. We have these drivers and receptionists, and they come home in the morning. I make tea for all of them.
Wow.
And keep their mugs ready. So whenever a cook comes, this is the only home, she says, in last 30 years, she says, जहाँ आने के बाद पहले घर का मालिक मेरे लिए चाय बना के रखता है.
So nice.
And I hand over my keys. I hand over my entire home to her.
Right.
And not a single rupee has been lost, stolen even today in last 30 years. Same with my driver, is for 28 years with me. So because when he comes, the first thing is get, और ये वो डिप का चाय नहीं है. मालिक ने खुद ने अपना टेस्ट पूछा कि तेरे को येलो लेबल चाहिए, उसमें कितना गर्म चाहिए, ये सब करके मेरे लिए बनाया है.
So nice.
किसी को दूध कम लगता, किसी को ज्यादा लगता, किसी को शक्कर कम लगती. हर 6 लोगों का चाय सुबह मैं खुद बनाता हूँ.
Perfect.
So that will remind me of this.
So nice. This is a new thing that I have learned from you, sir. All right, let me just sign it for you.
Oh, wonderful. Emotionally yours
with Pratik.
Wonderful. Pleasure was mine.
It indeed was a pleasure. And sir, here it is for you.
Oh.
And may I request you to photograph it for us?